Hey guys, and welcome back to my world. Now today I'm going to finally do a tutorial that you guys have been asking for quite some time. I've had at least 2 to 3 requests for this in every week for the last 2 3 months. Okay, and that is player rentable housing. So let me just jump straight into it. So as you can see on the right hand side of my screen, I have 0 days because I haven't actually paid for any days yet, and I also don't have a house yet. So you'll see I've also got a 0 for my house. Now on the far left hand side here, I've got house number 1221, and then I've got 1223 and 1225. Now it costs 1 gold to actually rent this house, so let me just get some more gold. Actually, I've got a bar of gold right there. So the first thing I do, let me just do my screen. Okay, so the first thing I do is I step up to the rent space where I get to rent the house. There's nothing in there, and I dump my rent into the hopper over there. You'll then hear the click. You'll see I now have 1 day of rent on the right hand side, and if I open the chest, you'll see I now have a key, and I'm the proud owner of house 1221's key. And on the right hand side, you'll see I now have house number 1221 on my scoreboard. If I do go to house number 1223, which is not the house I own, and I drop my key on the doormat, nothing happens. If I have a look in there, nothing happens. There's nothing there. Right, if I now do go to my correct house, which is 1221, first of all, I check in my dropper. Okay, there's nothing in the dropper, and I drop my key on the mat. The key disappears, the door opens, and my key reappears on the right hand side here. I don't know why I've got 2 keys now. Where did I get the key from? Right, and to close the door, so then I can go in, and do whatever I need to do. Oh, somebody tried to set up something. Somebody tried to set up a trap there by the looks of it. And then I just dump my key on the mat. This just locks the door. I take my key out of my dropper, and that's it. Bob's your uncle. I can go and do questing and come back, and I can be assured that no one can open this door but me with the key. But also to make sure that if somebody you need to have. Well, right, so what happens if I, for example, get another house? Let me just get some gold going here. Okay, so if I now do change and decide, okay, I actually want house 1223. I dump my gold in there. You'll see I do now have 2 days, okay, but I will have my house will now be set to 1223. There we go. And if I take my key, you'll see I now have 2 house keys. I've got 1223's house key, and I've got 1221's house key. So if I now go, even though I've got 1221's house key, if I now go and try and open this door, okay, you'll see even though it's the correct key, look, it's the correct key, I can no longer open the door because this is not my house. If I now use the exact same key and I try and open the door of 1223, okay, that didn't work. So you saw that key didn't work. But if I now try the correct key, which is 1223, I drop it in there, you'll see the door opens and my key is returned to me. I can go in, I can do my business, I can come out, and I can drop my key in there, locking the door, take my key when it appears, and away we go. Okay, so exact same thing if I now go and I go and get the key for 1223. This actually should be 1225, but if I get my 1225 key over here, you'll see I've got 3 days. I've got the 1225 key. I've been testing it, so that's why. And you'll see I've got 1225 on the side. Okay, if I now go and drop my key in there, okay, you'll see it works perfectly. I'm able to get my key back, go in, do my business, come out, drop my key, oopsie, and lock my door and walk away. Okay, the amount of days that I have now at midday every day. Okay, oops, there you can see it just happened. At midday every day, 1 day will be removed from the amount of days that I have paid for. So if I paid 10 gold bars, I have 10 days, so it'll take 10 Minecraft days for my rent to be up. But as you see, I just actually hit midday. So the landlord says 1 day's rent deducted. If you have 0 days left, your door is locked. Okay, so even though I have, so let's go have a look where I am. So I have, I'm in house 225. So if I just quickly deduct a few more. So if I set time to, yeah, that should be fine. And then set it to 5,000. It should deduct one more. There we go, and just do the same again and do it again. Right, today's left of rent, and even though I do have the key and my house is set to this particular house, if I now go and try and open the door, you'll see that I can no longer open the door until I've actually paid. So let me just quickly go pay. Oh, I've lost my gold. I've given it all to here, so it's gold. So if I now just go and drop the gold in here, okay, it'll set my house again to that. It'll now set my days to 1, which will now allow me to go and open my door. Yay! And I'm back at home. Hello, home sweet home. And then I just close it up again. 3 main components. Now I'm not going to be building these components in this video, as the video is already over 7 minutes, and otherwise it just ends up being a humongous video. Right, but I will, if you want, drop me a note, and I will do a block by block per episode maybe. So what I'm going to do is going to very roughly explain to you the concept behind it. Oh, and by the way, Faras, thank you very much for doing such a fantastic job with your the house. I mean, I asked Faras, can you build me a modern house? Here's a picture of what I want it to look like. And yeah, within an hour, he built me a phenomenal house. Okay, I made 1 or 2 small minor changes, but great, fantastic. Okay, so yes, another thing, this is not the smallest keycard door you can find. There is many designs out there. So I don't want to hear any comments about, oh, this is so big, oh, it's so messy. My main idea is you need to be able to see how it works and why it works. If you can make something smaller, please do. Send it as a video response. But I will only accept that video response if your door can do 3 things. 1, take a custom key, which is, you know, a named item. It takes that exact key and returns it into the dropper right next to the door so that it can be retrieved. And thirdly, it can be turned on and off by a command block. Okay, right, so basically what I've got here, I've got a straightforward item detector, which is a hopper that's just got enough items which will allow a signal strength of 1, so that when 1 more item is added, the signal strength will change to 2, okay, which will then turn off this torch, which will then turn on this torch, which will turn off this torch, which will unlock this hopper. So what happens with an unlocked hopper is that it will then start feeding items through into the direction that it is pointing in. Okay, so what happens is when you put an item in, it's going to be too fast for you guys to see, but when I put an item in, okay, this torch over here just turns off long enough for 1 item to go through. It then, signal strength then drops back to 1, which then turns on this torch, which turns off this torch, which turns back on this torch and locks the hopper. Okay, so it'll always only let through 1 item. So even if I put in 2 items, it'll only activate as 1. Okay, and then the next thing that happens over here is that over here I've got this redstone torch over here powers this door. Okay, so the moment this becomes a signal strength 2, so the moment there's an item in this hopper that pushes up the signal strength to 2, it will then turn on this repeater, which then turns on this 1 pulse generator, which will push this block away from this redstone signal. So if I just drop it in here, I'll show you what that does. Okay, that's not the right key. So let's do that. Okay, so you'll see that a 1 pulse generator will then push out the pulse so quickly that it'll push the redstone block away from this redstone over here, and it'll pull back without actually pulling the block with it. That's what the 1 tick pulse does, and then it just locks the door. And opened, we now want to push that key back into the hopper or the dropper over here. So because when this torch is so when this hopper over here is unlocked, it'll push the item into this hopper over here, which is not locked at all, which will push it directly into this dropper over here. Now you'll see I've got a little circuit running here that detects if there's an item in that dropper, and if there is an item in that dropper, it sends a signal straight through back into that dropper, which will then activate it and push the item up into the top dropper over there. Okay, so if I put an item in there, any item, okay, you'll see there was a quick flash, it activates, it pushes it up 2 blocks, and you can pull it back over there. And that's it. That's how quickly and easy that works. Now, what I've got then running and how I lock it is that I've got an actual command block running here that does a straightforward test for. So if I move away far enough, you'll see that the repeater over there locks the top hopper. Okay, so that means that no item can go onto it, and you'll see it actually bounces off. So it's locked. It will not accept any items unless I come closer. It'll then turn off and it will then accept items. Okay, and this is just a straightforward hopper clock running into a command block with the following command block that just says test for player in a radius of 10 who has a score house minimum of 1221, a score house of 1221, a score days minimum 1. So if any one of those two, if I do not own or haven't rented 1221, it will not turn off or turn on, so it'll lock the top hopper. And if I have less than 1 day, in other words, if I've got 0 days, it'll also not open up this door for me. Okay, so that's it. Relatively straightforward renting system. Now it basically works on exactly the same way as the item detector over here. So in the sense that I've got items over here that's blocked, so that no matter if you can't throw anything in there, it won't actually be pulled through except for the gold. Okay, it does a signal strength of 2, but instead of actually doing the pistons over there, it'll now actually activate 2 command blocks when this turns back on again. So remember, it does a signal strength of 2, it turns off this torch, allows the item to go through, and then when the item has gone through, it drops back to a signal strength of 1, which turns on this torch, which activates these 2 command blocks, and which then activates this over here, which we'll get to in a moment. These 2 command blocks, one just sets my house to whichever house number you want it to be. In this case, it's 1221. So it's scoreboard player set at P, radius 10, house 1221. Okay, and then over here, it just sets the amount of days. So if you want to do 1 gold block for 10 days, you can set this days over here. Okay, so once this is activated, so once this torch comes back on, actually let's backtrack slightly. So the gold bar, so if I put a gold bar in there, so watch my days on the side, you'll see my days now changed to 5. The gold bar gets pulled through and pushed directly into this dropper over here. So the moment this torch comes back on again after, it's done all the things, it'll actually fire this the gold that's in there, it'll fire it into the lava, destroying the item. So just so that you don't have extra items lying around. Okay, but when this torch turns off, when we positively have a gold in there, okay, it'll actually turn on this torch over here. So the signal goes straight through that, turns on the torch here, which then activates this dropper, which has your house keys in it, which then pushes it into the chest over here. Okay. That was a very, very quick description, but I'm conscious of how long this video is. Okay, so very, very simple. The item gets pushed from here all the way into the dropper over here. This signal, when it turns off, it actually turns on this torch over here, which gives me the key. When the system turns back on again, because of the item having left, it gives me, sets my house and my days, and it destroys the item. Okay, simple as that. Okay, and last but not least, we have our daylight or our midday detector. Okay, this was a bit tricky and it took a while to get this to work, but first of all, you just drop down a daylight detector, you put out a comparator. Very, very important that you set comparator to subtract. Okay, so you'll see this little knob is turned on. Okay. And then I have a hopper over here, which has got 4 unstackable items and 48 items. 48 stackable items. I was playing around with it and I found out that 48, so here you can vary the signal strength or the time of day by adding more or less of them, but I found 48 kind of works perfectly. So what happens is this signal strength over here gets subtracted from this signal strength over here, which then outputs a signal, and when it's midday, it is the only time that this one redstone over here is active, which then turns on the removes the 1 day from the player, from all players. It should actually be all, it shouldn't be player, it should be all players. All players, and it then just does a say command that just says, yo, your time is up, get out or pay up. Cool, guys, that's it. As I said, if you want me to do a block by block build, I'm not really very enthusiastic of doing that, but if you do, I probably will do it somewhere along the line. But yeah, this is player rentable housing. That, yes, there's only 2 objectives that is used. There's objective house, which, I mean, you could have seen this yourself, but I just thought I'd just reiterate about this whole thing. We've got 2 objectives: scoreboard objectives, objective house, and scoreboard objective days. And if you download this, you'll be able to just fiddle around and see it for yourself. And up here I've just got these set displays so that I can easily just toggle between the displays as I'm working with it. And last but not least, as I mentioned, do go check out Forrest's channel. I mean, great little builder. He yeah, does all of my major builds for me so that I don't have to fiddle around too much with trying to build nice stuff. I have actually modified this a bit. But anyway, also, you'll probably see some channel art now. Thank you very much for that. This is done by Fisherman Art. Yeah, cool. If you guys, anybody else want to send me some art, do send it in. I'll probably use it on some of my videos, and if it's really good, I might, change my avatar for a bit on it. But yeah, cool, guys, please send me stuff. I'm happy. Send me your maps. I'm working on a show where I'll be showcasing some of your stuff, so do send your stuff to me so that I can have a look at it, and me and Forrest can do a bit of a chat and a critique and so forth about it. Guys, thank you very much for watching, and as always, I will check you all later.